We are going to talk about SAS keywords. So simply I'll write data as a keyword. So what does it mean? When we say a data which we use to write in a programming window, it means we are going to create something. So it means we can represent to create data set. So now what does mean by data set? So when I'll give you example, let's say Excel. Now you have SAS now. When you compare with SAS and Excel, in Excel we say it as file, here we say it as data set. Same meaning. Okay. In Excel we say it as row, here we say it as observation. Then we have column, and here we have variable. Getting it? So you wanted to differentiate between Excel and SAS. So Excel we always says as what is a file. So file is here named as dataset. So there we say as row, here we say as observation. There we say as column, here we say as variable. Okay. So now we'll go to the another concept called in file. So in file means used to read from external sources. So we can say as read from external. So external source can be the from internal window itself or external file. Let's suppose a file located into any other sources, call your txt with some particular drive it's located or in the server is located. So you can give a path of a server which will help you to read from the particular path. Okay. So for example, for this we can write it example data new. I'm giving you as an example also. What is happening? To create data sets. It means I'm creating a data set called new. It's a file. So in a data set, we have a row and observations because we are talking about a table to be created. Getting it? So this new is having a own table to be created, which is used later for further purposes. Okay. Now I'll stop here. I'll explain you why I wrote it new. So there is a library. This is called a library. So what is library? So library is a location where we stored a data set. So let's suppose you should have a directory where you are saving something and where you wanted to retrieve something. So SAS talks about there's a two type of library available into SAS. One is called as so we have two type of library. One is permanent, one is temporary library. So for a permanent it word itself is saying whatever you're gonna save that will be permanent for each and every time when you open a SAS, when you look at for the drive. But temporary it will be there for sessions. So this is called as rough work. Okay. So we wanted to know what is the location they are using for permanent and what is the location they are using for temporary. So when you look at for this particular sections and if you go it, there's a section called in a SAS environment called library. So when you click in library, these are the libraries are there. So it means also called as directory where you're going to save something. So here is the work. So work is the name of a directory. It's called as temporary directory. It means whatever the things you are going to save into work, that will be remain same with the session. When you close your session and when you start, whatever you things you saved over here will automatically get deleted. So be careful, you don't want to save into work. But when you have a rough work to do it, you just do it and save it into work. Okay, and when you want to move, you can move into another folder. Okay, then another, you have these are the level which you are able to view now. It's a permanent. What will happen? Whatever things I'm going to save into permanent library, it will be remain same after your session got end also. So now how what there's a two libref assigned. So libref. So why we say libref? We wanted to assign or we wanted to refer a library. Okay, to access a data, to safeguard of a data. So we say this one is one label of name. Second, two label of name. Okay, I'll give you example one label of name when I'm writing new and when I'm writing new dot new. So there's a difference. So I'll show you the example when I say data new run. Run is used to execute. And when I'm writing data new dot new. So what is happening? This is called label. Label means the way of referring a library. So when you refer with the one label, so we are using only one label. Here we have two labels. When you are referring with the two labels, so first before a dot, whatever you're writing it, it is called as referring of a library. It means you are referring which library you need to focus on to safeguard with the name of new directory, new dataset. So new is the name of a dataset which is going to be saved into new library. So let's see if I'm going to execute this and if you're going to execute this also, what will happen. Now you have a log to check. Now when I executed first one data new run, it is executed. It means if you go and look at the work, the new is there. But what happened with this? When you say new.new, so what message we are getting it? So the message we are getting it, it's a lib name new is not assigned. Getting it? It means we don't have a library called new which need to be assigned. It means now we have to learn what is the procedures to assign it. Okay. Understood? I hope people understood about one label and two label. Okay. So now we'll move down into with this concept called how to assign it. So now you have option with a help of right click new. You need to keep the name of a particular file library called new. You have to say startup to be enabled. You have to provide the location from where you're going to access it. Let's suppose I'm going to access from this particular location. I need to give them locations and to click OK. So now new is going to be displayed here. So new is having that particular data set which I have just said. Okay. Hope is clear, I guess. Okay. So now we wanted to talk about one way we use through a manually. Second, you can use a command called libname, which we have discussed just now as a global statement. So libname, I have to use new2 with the location of particular one. You can use this copy and paste semicolon. Done. So new2 we are using it over here. So new2 is having this data set available because as we focusing on this